Security forces in Yemen are hunting for a suspected Al-Qaida leader thought to be behind a threatened attack that forced this week's U.S. and British embassies to close. Yemen says it has stepped up such operations since the failed Christmas Day airliner bombing tied to extremists in that country. But Yemen's foreign minister says his country won't accept direct American intervention in the fight against Al-Qaida. CNN's international security correspondent Paula Newton is now in the Yemeni capital of Sana'a. Paula, you're there. This is not your first time to Yemen. Compare what you're seeing now to what you saw back in 2008.
Not much has changed. Two things that you noticed right away, Wolf, and that is the grinding poverty. And you can see how this place can become a sanctuary for terrorism, also because there are huge swaths of this territory that aren't even controlled by the government, Wolf. And what does that remind you of? You know, it sends a chill up my spine every time I fly into this country, Wolf. It looks so much like Afghanistan from the air. And when you speak to experts here on the ground, and when I speak to the young people here on the streets, it's clear. If Al-Qaida wants to hide out here right now, they can.
There's also this notion that the U.S. Embassy, which was closed for a couple days, the British Embassy as well, it's now reopened. But this would, if there is an attack against the U.S. Embassy, it would not be the first time. There was another attack not that long ago.
Now, I was here, Wolf, just 2 months before the 2008 bombing of the U.S. Embassy, and I can't see that much different with security. Yes, you've got those security forces, the embassies. It still seems quite lax to me. The checkpoints, not what they could be, and I'm sure that's what's unsettling officials in the city. I've spoken to a few ambassadors now who tell me that while they're getting more specific threat information from the government, and they're grateful for that, they're still pretty much on edge about the security situation.
Paula, how are you treated as a Westerner in Yemen?
You know, Wolf, as I just said, an incredibly poor country. This is a deeply religious country. As a Westerner, as a woman, I don't really stand out all that much. I shouldn't anyway from the way I look. But immediately I get stared at. A lot of that, Wolf, is because you don't really see a lot of women in the streets here, and most of them are usually covered up. The problem here, and this is something that government officials have confided in me, this religious conservatism that has thrived here in the last 20 years has really changed the culture. And really, when you're dealing with the kind of poverty, this is the poorest nation in the Middle East, it's running out of water, Wolf. It might run out of water within 5 years. A lot of challenges on the table here for the Yemeni government. Now the Obama administration really keeping a close eye on how things develop here.
Do you take that scarf, Paula, and cover your hair when you're walking around the streets there?
I do, and it doesn't do me much good. You pretty much have to be covered from head to toe, you know, in a burqa to not stand out. And luckily, me not having blue eyes, if I choose to wear that, I don't stand out. But that's not, you can't say that for the crews that are around us. Believe me, there are many tourists here, I have to tell you, who do walk around freely, and they'll tell you that they meet many Yemenis who are very nice and welcoming to them. The problem, though, is still that in terms of trying to relate to what these people are going through here is very difficult to try and understand things here on the ground.
Be careful over there, Paula. We'll check back with you tomorrow. We'll check back with you every day. Thanks for your reporting.